Yo! What's going on, everybody? Shinmuk here. Today we're taking a look at the 9.2 bonus update notes. Some absolute madness going on in SMITE right now. There's a whole cacophony of complaints and concerns about the game's future and so on and so forth. We're not going to get into all that today, but let me know if you want me to talk about all the issues people are having right now with SMITE. It's because they removed boots. I'm just going to put it right out there. That's what I think is still the issue. But anyways, let's just get into these bonus notes. Not too much. I'm going to try and go through it quick. These bonus notes ones, I always feel like I look at the video duration. I was like, what was I even talking about, dude? Like, how did I actually make a video so long about this? So I'm going to try and not do that this time. So some pretty cool skins, just a handful of them. I'm falling in love with this one. And, of course, the Mulan one as well. Kuzenbo, who cares? So they're they're not full on reverting, but they are taking back a bit of the pen that they gave the flat pen items. I still don't see it. I don't see why they buffed them. Well, A, I don't really see why they buffed them so hard, and two, I don't really see how putting them in the middle ground is any better. I mean, they're still going to be too strong in my opinion, especially when you double up on them. It's going to feel like way too strong of a spike because like they buffed these items a ton. And then they added the extra 5 pen, which was an entire extra 50% of their flat pen, on top of what they were already doing to all the items. Like, all the items got really, really strong buffs. Like, Spear Deso got some of his power back. Divine got a bunch of power. And Spear, of course, hasn't really been touched, but it did get that really good rework a while back with the lifesteal on it as well. Like, they do all this stuff to it, and then they give the extra flat pen. I don't know. Let's see it. Like, the items were being bought anyways. I don't know why they bought them in the first place. It's just all hell broke loose when they did that. So, I don't know why this is given 90 magical power. It's a physical defense item with 90 power on it. I mean, that doesn't, like, bloated stats don't necessarily make a broken item, right? But, like, why did they give a defense item 90 power? I don't really... Like, why did they do that? Seer of the jungle, decrease the physical power, decrease the magical power, decrease the attack speed, and I don't know. I don't. I don't see this one. I mean, it was good in you know, it was good if you're a more competitive minded individual player. I feel like it was just a really, really bloated passive. And then they were like, oh, okay, let's lessen the stats a little bit so that people won't buy it. And it's like, wait, what? So do you not want this to be good, or do you want it to be good? I don't really understand what you're going for here, because it was clearly worse stat-wise than the other Eye of the Jungle upgrade, which I'm forgetting. Protector of the Jungle, I think. Like in terms of pure stats. So it's just like people weren't going to buy this. And then they just bloated the stats back up to be closer to where... Protector of the Jungle would be damage-wise. And so it's just like, well, okay, I'll go with the one with the better passive. But so it's, yeah. It is a really cool idea. Yeah, I'm down with the idea of it. It's just like, it was just a little bit too strong, and then they just bloat the stats up. But, maybe on something other than a jungle item upgrade is where this passive should be, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Maybe we should have like this is not exactly like it, but it's like a sweeper, a ward sweeper from League of Legends, right? So why don't we have that as like a consumable or something, you know? Instead of just like on an item like this, which is way... I just revealed the next one, sorry. Which is just way harder to balance. Like, this is just so much harder to balance than just putting like a consumable or a relic upgrade in the game, which is like a ward sweeper in League of Legends, you know? Belt of the Berserker. Decrease initial damage buff, again. Decrease initial attack speed buff, again. Yeah, this one's still a little bit too strong. I do like Frenzy, though, in general. Is that even what's called anymore? Is it Girdle or Frenzy? I think it's Frenzy, right? Well, whatever. You guys know what I mean. Belt of Awesomeness. I actually like the idea of it. I mean, it's easy to miss time. It's just a little brain dead when it comes to, objectives and like towers and stuff. Like, it's pretty clear when you have an opportunity to do an objective, to do a tower or a phoenix, you press the button and yeah, you're probably going to get that objective or structure. So, it's a fine line. Like, maybe the raw damage buff doesn't apply to structures, or applies less to structures and objectives and stuff, but then it's just like, well, what's the point if it only works on gods, you know? So it's a fine line they got to try and walk with this with this relic, but I do like it. So Zeus is getting nerfed, thank goodness. He's been so annoying to deal with ever since they did the attack speed buff on his shield. You know, the move speed, yeah, just take it or leave it, right? He needs the move speed, but the attack speed has been a big problem because you just can't jump on Zeus without 100% guaranteed getting 3 stacks on you like 100% of the time. So they're lessening how much each, like literally every stage, how much each stack does. I don't know. I feel like they could have taken more off, frankly. Or at least scaled it differently to where the multipliers could have been like lessened at the lower stages, especially because it was a big problem because Zeus just felt like he could just auto you down with his attack speed on his 2 and guaranteed get the stacks on you. So I don't know. Like it's easier. It's honestly easier to get the multiple stacks on early game than it is late game. So you know, that's just how I feel about it. So I feel like these should have been lowered a little bit further than what they're at. But anyways, moving on to Soul. Finally, they're nerfing the actual damage on her basic attacks when she gets full passive. I think I mentioned this before. I'm not sure. I said something about nerfing her when she's at her full passive because I feel like that's the problem. I don't think I specifically mentioned the basic attack damage, but yeah, that was definitely one of the reasons. I think I either mentioned the damage or the attack speed. But yeah, I mean, this is absolutely one of the big issues with her. She just gets so many benefits from having full heat. That you need to touch the full heat. You don't necessarily need to touch the her abilities damage, the cooldown on her 3. I think they touch just like why? Like this is the actual issue with her. I feel like there's more to come off of Soul than just this, but I get that they don't want to have her be in the gutter again because I think she was in the gutter for a little while there. Izanami, I think, is the same story. They're decreasing the damage on her basic attacks, as well as decreasing her base attack speed. I think that's fair enough. The base attack speed is pretty surprising to me, because I feel like this is going to feel the exact same and still have this like the same amount of pressure, I feel like. So I feel like not a whole lot's going to change in regards to Izanami here with this. But, you know, we'll just have to feel it out for ourselves, right? And I don't think this is the only issue with Izanami either. Maybe they could take down the pen a little bit on her passive, or take down the attack speed on her 1 a little bit, make it more like 60% attack speed to them, and then lower the percent pen a little bit. Because Silver Branch is a really, really solid item right now that stacks with her passive. I mean, it's gross. It's pretty gross when it comes down to it. So I think lessening those 2 things would be smart. But I see lowering the base attack speed as well. Get that early game a little bit lessened, you know. Now Shiva, getting some changes, pretty much all to his damage. Makes sense to me. It's all to his scaling as well, which I think is interesting. I think I did mention in my overview for him that his scaling was really, really decent on every single one of his abilities. You know what I mean? So like it was it's what you'd expect from a high scaling warrior ability on every single one of his abilities, which is a bit of a problem. So yeah. So they're doing they're getting rid of some of the scaling from the dance, the destruction dance, which is the 3rd one, the damaging one. It also decreases the application. Yep. And then Pillar of Dawn, his dash, decreasing the damage mitigation. Now I think this should go down even further, maybe down to something like 15, and then it scales up to maybe 35 once it's fully leveled. I think they have to do something like that. I feel like that's way too much for an on-command damage mitigation, basically. As well as, I actually found out it's not fully CC immune. It says verbatim in game that it's CC immune. It is not. You can get knocked out of it by a few different CCs in the game. I forget which ones specifically, but it's immune to most CCs, but not all CCs. So, but either way, it's still an extremely strong ability. I don't think the damage mitigation should be at cap when you first level the ability. I mean, that doesn't really make sense. But okay. Also nerfing the damage on the 1 a little bit. I mean, that's, yeah, you're not really going to feel that too much. But yeah, I think those are some fair nerfs. I think there's a lot more to come off of Shiva, but they don't want to overdo it. New God, all that good stuff. So, I get it. Gilgamesh, I'm just tired of seeing this guy, bro. I just look at Gilgamesh in these patch notes, and I just get sleepy. I'm over it at this point. Hey, bro, he has been like top 5 jungler since he came out over a year ago now. Well, is it over a year ago? I think we're getting close to that, like a literal year of Gilgamesh kicking people into walls. But Not, I don't think we're quite at a year yet, but it's getting very, very close to a year of him literally never not being meta. So, well, top, not even just meta, top. Like he's actually still top pick. So, bit of a problem. So decreasing the physical power scaling on both of those. All right, fingers crossed. Pounce, the unmissable ability that deals like half Squishy's health bar to the mid to late game. So decreasing the base damage and the physical power scaling, I think that makes sense. I think it really should have been 300 this whole time. There's no need to make it, or at least, you know, I think decreasing the radius as well would have been a good call here. Not necessarily making it something as small as like a Kali or a Baka leap, but, you know, making it smaller, something in between a Kali and Baka leap and the current Bastet leap, something in between, instead of the huge stupid radius it has now. I don't know why it's so big, but yeah, something like that would also be a nice little nerf. And then decreasing the scaling as well. This could probably go down to like 80 instead of 90, especially considering the current items and then some of the changes that are coming next patch. Well, I don't know if that'll affect Bastet necessarily, but yeah, I feel like this could come down to like an 80. I think 90 is a little bit too high. Like, she just has such high scaling. It's just like, oh, okay. But do you want 100% scaling on every single one of your abilities? Doesn't that sound, well, doesn't Sasano... Alright, we're just gonna move on. Fenrir, decrease the duration of this ability from 5 to 4 seconds. Decrease the time the Fenrir can hold an enemy after biting them from 2 to 1.75. I don't know why it goes from 2 to 1.75. But this applies for its full length after the initial duration, even if Fenrir grabs someone at the last second. So this is how... I think this was like a quote-unquote rule of Fenrir's ultimate that not everyone was aware of, and that's why it felt like bro, he was doing a full Vine before. It was a full 7 seconds that he could potentially do the ultimate for. That's why it could sometimes feel like, wow, this ultimate is just not ending, because he could grab someone at the last second, and yeah, basically increase his duration on it. But okay, so 1.75, I feel like I could go to 1.5. I know they don't want to completely gut this part of the ability, but I feel like one of them needed to be like almost halved, or like you know, lessened significantly, or maybe change how this rule works in general, because it is a little bit too long. But here's a really good one. Now gives scaling magical and physical protections instead of just double protections. That was silly. I mean, that was one of the things that they definitely overbuffed about Fenrir. That it was just like, wait, people are building tank Fenrir. Wait, does not compute. So it was just something that seemed like a bit of an oversight. Like, wait, people play Fenrir as a tank. You guys know that, right? And you're gonna let him double his protections for free now. He doesn't have to get. I don't think he needs full runes for the double protections, right? It's been some time that he didn't need to do that. I mean, Fenrir's passive is pretty much just for the stun now, right? Because I mean, he barely gains any benefits at all from his other abilities. So that's pretty much just for that stun. So that's interesting. But yeah, that's this patch notes. I don't know how to feel about it, because I feel like nothing's really going to change with this. Gods that are good are getting taken down a little bit, but like, I don't know. I don't think anyone's gonna leapfrog any of these characters as a result of these changes. I think this is the only change that really sticks out to me. That one. And then the rest of these is just like, oh, okay, they're gonna be not quite as crazy as they were, and then like same thing with these items, not quite as crazy as they were, but like stuff they're competitors aren't going to leapfrog them as a result of these changes, which I guess might be the point. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't think we're going to see very much of a switch up. And you're going to see this is an issue I have with the actual 9.3 patch as well. But the 9.3 patch is like 3 times as long as this, so that's a bit of a problem. But we'll get to that when we do. That's the 9.2 bonus update notes. I talked for 14 minutes about almost nothing. I don't know how I managed that. Thanks for watching.